Hey everyone, this is Mike, and today I've got another little guide for closers. This time we're going to be talking about the trigger system that got added in today's update. It's going to be a pretty short video because it's actually really simple to explain everything. So this guy over here, Mr. Jerry Kim, he's got a quest for you, and once you complete the quest you get one trigger for yourself, and you have the option to find more triggers. So the triggers are over here. They are a 3 out of 3 set. There's 4 sets in total. They have a 2 out of 2 and a 3 out of 3 set effect. Not only do they give passive benefits, there's also tunings that you can get. As you can see, each triggers themselves has some passives on them. And then there's a 2 and a 3 set effect. Now, you can either use these triggers as a passive benefit just for the stats that they offer you, because the sets are quite nice, but they also have an activation effect or a trigger effect. So you can click it on and off. I obviously can't turn it on as I don't have the 3 triggers yet, but if you left click on it, you open up the activation trigger menu. Basically, this functions kind of like your pets. So for your pet to be activatable, you need to feed it pet food. For a trigger to be activated, you need to feed it one of these 3 things. So for example, if I max this out, it's going to consume 400 chromatic essences, and then I have a full bar of my trigger. So each time that my trigger gets activated in battle, this bar is going to deplete, and then once it is completely depleted, I need to feed it again, and I can feed it whatever I desire out of these 3 things. So that's kind of how you feed it. It's kind of like your pet. Once it runs out, you need to feed it again. The trigger set effects themselves are kind of nice. There's 4 different sets, so I'll go over them really quickly. For Chaos, you have a 15% chance to inflict 30 million damage and reduce the target's crit resistance by 30%. You can have a very high uptime of this as well, by the way. Now, I'm not sure if the crit resistance is just that you're going to crit more often, or that your crit damage is going to deal 30% more damage, so I'm not sure about that. For Destruction, 15% chance to do 30 million damage again, but instead of reducing crit resistance, you are increasing the damage the target is taking by 5%. So either 30% crit resistance or 5% flat damage increase. Oblivion, whenever you get hit, there is a 25% chance that you recover 50% HP and MP, and also increase your damage by 5%. Don't think this is good at all, because it requires you to get hit in the first place, which in most cases you want to be using iframes and such to dodge stuff. So I don't really think this is all too reliable to increase your damage. It would be good for people that don't feel like they're good players and they're like, I get hit a lot. Maybe that's okay. But I'd personally go for Chaos or Destruction. And the last one, Anger, is at the start of the battle, just increases your damage by 10%, but it also increases the damage that you take by 50%, and that lasts for 90 seconds. So I guess Anger is probably the best to go for when it comes to short fights, which most of the fights in these games are pretty short. But when it comes down to doing more damage over time on a longer drawn out fight, like for example Purification Hell or something like that, Destruction is probably going to be better. Because I'm not entirely sure, because it does say that the cooldown on Anger is only 100 seconds and it lasts for 90, but it says as the battle starts, so I guess it's just a one-time deal, kind of like the red Purification trinket, because it activates at the start of the battle and then when it runs out, it just runs out. So yeah, for me personally, Chaos or Destruction are probably going to be the 2 best ones. Which one of those is going to be the best, I'm not entirely sure, as I don't know how this crit resistance thing works. But yeah, maybe somebody in the comments will be able to explain that more. But yeah, you can farm everything, by the way. Let me show you where to farm them. You can farm it in Training Program, Easy and Hard Mode for Wolfgang, or Training Program Hoffman, and then Easy Hard Mode for Hoffman. It's a random drop, there's no crafting involved. So you gotta be a bit lucky with what you get. I don't know what the drop rate is, I haven't done any of these things yet. So I hope the drop rate's kind of decent. Probably won't be, considering that I still don't have my Hofgang modules either. But yeah, so that's where you farm them. That's kind of how the system works. Another little thing as well, since Outguns Out is kind of like in its last phase, you have 7 days to play, so it's the whole week. And if you play for 3 hours in the whole week, you got a free +13 booster. So it's quite nice to get those. And then there's also free passes for some of the trading programs. So if you want to spam them a bit more to get more reanimators to then feed to your triggers and have a higher chance to get more triggers as well. So yeah, that's kind of how it works. You want to get 3 out of 3 sets of the same thing. If you don't care about what set you're using, if you don't care about the trigger effect, I mean, you can just get them for the passive 3 out of 3 bonus, because that is the same for all of the triggers. 2 out of 2 and 3 out of 3 set effect is the same for everything. It is just the trigger effect that is different. So either you just farm a 3 out of 3 set of whatever if you just want the passive. If you do want to invest these materials in doing some more damage, then you can invest in getting the right trigger set that you need. So yeah, that's it. That's kind of like the new trigger system. If you got some more questions about it, feel free to leave them in the comments. And yeah, that's going to be it. I'll see you in the next one.